Normally, if you're into street rods, you're into drag racing. Well, we thought we would cover both areas with Butch's 1956 Chevy Gasser. It's old school drag racing, and it's coming up here on Street Rodding American Style.
Butch, tell me what we're looking at here.
It's a 1956 Chevy 210 two-door sedan straight axle gasser.
In 1956, Bill Haley and the Comets and Elvis Presley were the popular musicians. Around the World in 80 Days was the hit at the box office, and the first hard drive was invented by IBM.
Straight axle gasser. Now explain to me the definition of a gasser. And I don't want personal problems either.
They had the straight axle front ends. They were drag cars. They were actually like the first old style funny cars.
What kind of horsepower is underneath this?
This is about 500 horse.
500 horse. Now you drag race this solely, right?
Drag race the nostalgia drags.
Okay, so this is old school drag racing we're looking at here.
Old school drag racing.
What kind of ET can you take with about 400 horse?
The best so far has been an 1187.
1186. So how fast is that?
About 115 to 121 miles.
Okay. First time you took it out on the drag strip, nervous or not?
Scared me to death.
Why?
Not knowing how it was going to react.
Adrenaline?
Oh yeah, yeah. I scream all the way down. Yeah, kind of like, yeah!
So you got the engine here, you're going back to the transmission. What kind of transmission?
It's a M22 Muncie.
Rock Crusher.
Rock Crusher.
What shifter?
Hurst inline vertigate.
Inline? How do you work inline?
Pull up, straight back, click down, third, back to fourth.
So it's almost impossible to miss a gear, but you can sometimes?
You can miss it, yeah.
Have you ever missed a gear?
Yeah, I won't say.
Okay, we won't brag about that.
It's been a while.
Let's keep going back to the drivetrain then. Next thing is the rear end. What's been done to the rear end?
It's been narrowed 1 inch, which you can't have a tub car in the nostalgia class, but it's been narrowed 1 inch. It's
Why
all
1 inch?
wheel, so I could get the 10-inch wheels underneath it without cutting the wheel wells on this, which a lot of the gassers, they did flare the wheel wells on them, but I didn't want to do that. And the springs were moved to the inside of the front for tire clip.
Ladder bars or not?
Ladder bars for traction, full floating system. And another thing, old school.
Right, now
that's the way they did it.
And with the ladder bars, you say traction, but what is the purpose? How does it give you more traction?
Well, it actually keeps your wheels from hopping. You know, it keeps you from shifting. It gets everything down and stuck.
It allows the torque not to twist, and it keeps it right there.
Keeps it right there.
And you wheel hop, you're going to break a lot.
You're going to break stuff. Yes.
Back end, I see a knob that's coming out of the tail light. What is that knob?
That's an emergency shutoff in case you have a fire or something that you can't see it in the car.
Right.
The tech can shut it off.
But somebody uses that starting line, or even at the finish line,
or at the finish line, or wherever. If it gets upside down,
they can come up
and get down there and shut it off and get you out of the car.
Going back to old school with this, I'm looking at the front end, and you got the gas tank up here.
They used that in the '60s for the old injection blown cars, and they'd run the like nitro in the A gas class or B class or alcohol, and they run that to the injection. Well, I'm running gas, so I've got a regular fuel cell, and I've got that. I'm actually using it as an overflow for the radiator.
Can you lift the tires on this thing?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it'll carry him in 2 gears.
Really? So let's back up then. You said it was kind of adrenaline rush the first time you did it. Did you lift the wheels off the first time you
Not the very first time, because I didn't hit it real hard the first time, because like I said, I wasn't sure how it was going to act.
Did it surprise you the second time you did?
Oh yeah, yeah. But I got to be a tough guy and say, yeah, it was something different. Yeah.
Does your wife appreciate the car?
She loves it.
She loves it.
She gets right out there and helps me with everything. So,
that's awesome. She's driven it?
She's driven it. Now, she hasn't raced it, but yeah, she's driven it.
So you take it down the road.
Yep.
It's cool. Very clean. Well, Butch, thanks for letting us see it.
Thank you.
I'm going to take Michael over to see a very clean Olds 442, and we're going to see if he can spot what is not original on that car. Mike, have at it.
Well, right off the bat, I noticed that, of course, it's not the original filter. This is an aftermarket filter. Of course, I know why he did this is for performance value. So obviously, he must enjoy driving the car. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done that to something that he's putting in a stock class. Right. This car is in the stock class, which means it should be as close to original as possible.
So would that be a deduction then?
It would under, depending on the particular show. On this particular show, probably not because of the way the judging is set up. But if this was judged against like original stock cars, yes, it definitely would be a deduction. The oil filler neck on there originally was a pop-out type, so that particular style is an aftermarket. And I couldn't help but notice that the paint is just absolutely flawless. It's beautiful, which a stock car was not.
Not that way.
Out of the factory, they were not that shiny. This is obviously a base coat, clear coat system. Originally, these cars were sprayed with lacquer, no clear coat. The clear coat allows you to get this beautiful, smooth, glass-like finish where there's no orange peel apparent on this car. So those are 3 things that I just spotted just by walking over here and looking at it. So, and I'm sure I can probably find a few if I spent the time. But you know, since this is just a quick show type thing, it's a beautiful car. Definitely would score very well in a sanctioned regional show. But because of the modifications, something easy he could probably fix other than the paint issue.
Right.
So he'd probably want to go into an original restored class as opposed to a stock. Original restored allows you a little bit of leeway.
Okay, expert judge, I think he passed.